Hi students, today I want to make a short video about author's craft and how we compare author's craft across texts. So we have been looking at the choices an author makes in a story and how that impacts us as a reader, and really looking at figuring out what our author's goal is by choosing to use figurative language or to use indirect characterization to introduce character. And so now we are looking at how our authors do things similarly and differently across texts. So in some of your stories, you'll notice that there's a lot of telling stories through different perspectives. So Wendy Mass, she has some of her books are told from different perspectives. Same thing with Sharon Draper. So is that a pattern for her? She have multiple, these authors have multiple texts that are written that way. But in looking at these patterns and looking at how an author does things similarly and differently from different books can give us an idea of what type of author we like and what type of writing we like. So for today, for this week, we are looking at the category that says I can compare and contrast the characters in several books by one author, focusing on how the author introduces and develops those characters and other story elements. And then your advanced part is I can make multiple comparisons and provide evidence. So you're providing evidence for both. We talked about it in class, how for proficient, it's one comparison and one contrast, so one similarity and one difference. And then for advanced, it's giving two or more comparisons, similarities, or and two or more contrasts, which are differences. With the advanced part, those of you who want to go that way, you don't have to just talk about the characters. You can also talk about the setting. So this is where you can talk about how the setting is developed. You can also talk about how the theme is developed. Numerous other things that you can talk about here. You don't just have to focus on character for the advanced section like you did for the proficient. So my example, I want to talk you guys through the example I wrote. I wrote it tonight at home, and I don't have my books with me, so I don't have the evidence pulled, but I did want to show you what a structure could look like for this. So my example says, many of Jordan Sonnenblick's books are written in first-person point of view. In Drums, Girls, and Dangerous Pie, Sonnenblick uses Stephen as the narrator. And then I would give a piece of evidence that proves it's first person as Stephen being the narrator. In Notes from the Night Driver, he uses Alex to tell the story. And then this is where I would put my piece of evidence in, explaining how, showing Alex telling the story. And then by using first-person point of view, Sonnenblick helped show the reader. And then this is how I would explain how using first-person point of view really impacts us as a reader, because we're able to be drawn in. We're able to see the events unfold from our main character's perspective and how that creates the bond between the reader and the main character. And that's where I would go in and explain all of that. That's a comparison because it's a similarity. So both written in first person. Then we go on to the next paragraph, we look at differences. And I say, even though Sonnenblick has a distinct style of writing, each book is different. In Drums, Girls, and Dangerous Pie, he introduces and develops Stephen's character using his speech along with hyperboles. And then I would give an example of Stephen talking and how that's showing a hyperbole. And then I would also probably explain why Sonnenblick chose to use hyperboles to explain Stephen, and how that really creates Stephen as a character and makes him this more believable, sarcastic teenager. However, in Notes from the Night Driver, Sonnenblick uses Alex's actions to develop his character. So I would show maybe the beginning of the book when Alex drinks and drives and gets into the accident, and how that really shows us who Alex is in the beginning. And I might put another piece of evidence from the end, when Alex is with Saul, to show how the things he's doing shows who he is as a person. And then I just explained these might be small differences, but they give the reader a variety in writing while also keeping with Sonnenbleck's style. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. If I highlight this and I go to tools and to word count, I'm looking at 176 words. So this is 176 words without all that extra information added in. This is not long. I promise you guys, you can do this. You're going to do great. I will post this example along with this, along with the assignment on Schoology. Please feel free to email, ask me if you have any questions.